Hi-yo, hello again, and welcome to our latest edition of Portal Season, SZN. This is going to be episode number 13. My name is Jay Tate. I am publisher / Commodore / owner at auburnsports.com, and I'm also the czar of this channel, which you probably have already figured out. Thank you for sitting in with me tonight as we do a very brief, quick review of what's been going on portal-wise. And today we're going to look a little bit ahead at one of the positions where they need to do maybe a little bit more work. Even though they've done great work overall, there's still a couple things that need to be addressed. We'll jump in right away. Derrick Singleton, the biggest news of the day, easily. The outstanding slot receiver from Georgia Tech, signed with Auburn. I believe they came to their agreement last night. Now, on the show yesterday, I told you guys, I strongly believe that we will be talking about him on the next show, and here we are. I think that came to an agreement late last night. It was announced this morning on Auburn's Twitter feed at around, I think, 7 a.m. And the reason that this took so long is that Ole Miss kept coming in and trying to get involved with Derrick Singleton and try to snatch him away from Auburn, which is, that's what they do. Ole Miss is a team that's been very successful throwing the football. Lane Kiffin, obviously, is a great signal caller, very charismatic person, or at least I think he is. A lot of the kids do. And they got money over there. Ultimately, Auburn did what it had to do to win this recruiting battle. And I think Derrick Singleton's very, very good. 5'11", 190, started all 12 games for Georgia Tech last season, 56 catches for 754, ACC honorable mention, all conference. And here's the deal with him. So he's kind of a slot receiver, but he can play outside. He played outside some for Georgia Tech, and he's extremely fast in a straight line. And he gives it hell when he's got the ball in his hands. He is a highly aggressive man with the ball in his hands. Kind of like a Ryan Davis from maybe 6-7 years ago, but better, faster. This guy's got elite straight line speed like Ontario McCaleb did. So he's going to be an absolute rocket if he's, let's say he's working outside and he can get some of those quick slants the way that Tyreek Hill does with the Dolphins. I'm telling you guys, if they don't come down on him, he is gone. I mean, he's just absolutely gone. So he's got rocket speed, and they're going to find a way to blend him and Malcolm and these other guys too. I mean, the wide receiver room has taken a big step forward in 2 years. Big time. So this is a huge get. Some of the services, I think On3 had him as the second best player in the entire portal. I think 24/7 might have had him as the number one guy in the portal. Yet, those of you who have been watching this show know I've got him as the fifth best player that Auburn brought in. And you may say, hey, JG, why is that? I don't know. The other guys I thought were really good, too, that Auburn brought in. And Derrick Singleton, to me, is a really good wide receiver. I don't think he's like the greatest player ever, but I think he's fast, and I think he gives you some inside-outside portability, and you might as well add a guy like that. I mean, that's a big win for them for sure. Now, I want to move over to the wideout depth situation, and this has changed a little bit now that we've added Singleton to the depth chart. Now, I've put him at slot. He can play Z receiver as well, so there is some portability there. But the green guys are going to be people that are added when we go into fall practice. These are guys who are newcomers, basically. So Cam Coleman's back. Perry Thompson's back, obviously. And then Malcolm, Sam Jackson, and Bryce Kane, who I have listed as slot receivers. I think Sam can go some different spots, but anyway, adding Singleton gives you great depth at slot. Him and Malcolm, two guys that can play 30, 40 snaps a game or more if needed. Super fast, give you some different stuff. Horatio Fields they've added from Wake Forest at Z with Duke Smith coming in. Perry Thompson's there, and then Cam Coleman. Sam Turner will be here for spring. All these guys will be here for spring except for the Smith twins. The Smith brothers will not be here, but Sam Turner will be here. Horatio will be here. Derrick Singleton will be here, and you'll be able to get that depth going. I love what they've done here. In 2 years, they've gone from probably an F, I would give the wideout room, to now this is probably a B+ wideout room, maybe even an A-, depending on the kind of impact that Singleton can have. And if Perry can challenge Horatio Fields and even get ahead of him, I would be very intrigued with this group for sure. So big-time progress at wide receiver, and Derrick Singleton, who they added today, a big part of that for sure. Here is the latest commit list. I am running out of room. So if Auburn adds more players, I don't know where I'm going to put them on the list, but we'll get to that when it comes appropriate. I have gone ahead and given Derrick Singleton an A- as a grade. You could very easily argue and say he deserves an A straight up. I think that's fair. I just, when I'm watching the tape of him, I don't think he uses blocks really well. And I don't think he understands super well, like how to kind of change speeds to set up blocks and leverage blocks as well. But, man, I'm telling you, you get him on a tunnel and there's a space there, he is absolutely gone, dude. He is going to be like Carl Lewis taking off. So, and he has kind of a long stride, too, but he's still extremely fast. He doesn't look like he's moving fast, but then nobody can catch him. So, he's really good. Anyway, adding an A- guy at this point, that's huge. Now, one thing I want to talk about before we break for today, over on that left side where it has Auburn's top needs, there's still 2 spots that are white, and they're not green, that have not been addressed. Buck and defensive tackle. Let's take a look at D-line depth. Before we start getting into this, Auburn has missed on its top 2 choices at Buck. Clev Lubin from Coastal Carolina has signed with Louisville. Again, someone on the board asked, how can Auburn lose people to Louisville? Well, first of all, they shouldn't be losing kids to Louisville because Louisville's a crap-ass program and nobody should be going there. Second of all, if he's their number 1 prospect and he's like Auburn's 5th or 6th overall, which is fair, Louisville can pull that off, and maybe Auburn can. That's what happened. Also at Buck, TJ Searcy, who came in about a week ago visiting from Florida, has signed with Texas A&M. So he's gone too. So they're going to have to kind of reset. Now, I think there's going to be some guys pop in the portal as the playoffs continue to progress and some of the teams get knocked out. I do think you'll see more of that. There's going to be more players available, so Auburn's going to have to jump in there. But Buck is a spot where they've really got to have some depth. They really need to add somebody who's a plug-and-play player. And I think that DT spot, I think Malik Blockton had a terrific freshman year this year. And I think he's deserving of, 30 or 40 snaps a game next year. But that should be a full complement for guys like that. I don't like the idea of 3 techs playing 50, 60 snaps a game. You need more than 1. You really need more than 2. Going into next season at the 3 technique, the DT spot, you've got Malik, but then you've got Darian Smith, who's coming in from Maryland, Baltimore area, broke away from Tennessee to sign with Auburn, and Antonio Coleman from Mobile, 2 guys that I think are really good long-term guys, but I don't love them for next year. So I think Auburn's still got to go out there and get a 3-tech guy to play alongside Malik or challenge Malik, or maybe Malik plays 35 snaps a game and this guy plays 25 or whatever. Still got to have a plug-and-play DT. Love, in general, what is going on here as far as depth. This is the kind of stuff that Kevin Steele did, and this is now the stuff that DJ Durkin's doing because you've got your star players like a Keldrick, you've got a challenger like a Morris at defensive end, and then you've got your developmental players. And I love Jared Smith as a developmental player coming in from Thompson High School. He's won a lot. He's played for a coach who understands how to win, how to get these kids drilled and skilled. It's terrific, absolutely terrific. And I absolutely love what they've got going at nose. Jordan Crawford, I think, is going to be the most underrated, delicious, amazing stud of all the SEC players signed this cycle. I think Jordan Crawford will end up being the biggest, out of nowhere star. I absolutely love Jordan Crawford. Malik Autry can play nose. He can also play 3-tech. Again, a little bit of a developmental guy, and I think when you're 6'6", like Malik is, and it's a pad level game, it's going to take some getting used to be able to play low. And I think he's going to be able to do it. He's a really good athlete, and he's bendy, but it's going to take some time. I still love what they're doing at tackle. They added Dallas Walker from Western Kentucky, former Texas A&M guy. You got Bobby Jamison Travis playing behind him, give you, 15, 20, 30 snaps a game. I like what they're doing here. I just think that they still got to address situations at Buck and at the 3 technique spot, and they will. They will. But we can talk about how they've done in the portal. I would probably overall give Auburn an A-, B+, A- in the portal overall at this point. But until they do the 3 technique in the Buck, I can't go any higher than that. I'm tempted to say, it's going to finish higher, like an A. Guys, they got out there. We laughed about how bad it was last year. They were so slow getting started. This year, hit the ground running and targeted the guys they really needed, and they got them signed quickly and completely different. 180 from what they did last year. So I'd hate to be over here nitpicking at stuff, but it's kind of my job, I guess, sometimes. Anyway, before we go, we'll take a look at the Beast list. The only change here is that I have added Eric Singleton. I put an Auburn logo in front of his name And I know there's people out there that are thinking, JG, how in the world can you say Eric Singleton is the 5th best player that has been on campus at Auburn when On3's got him listed as the 2nd best player in the portal? Well, it's all an opinion thing, isn't it? And I still think he's really good. In fact, I would argue that Ryan Strader is right there with him. Now, on this list, there's a big drop between Ryan Strader and CJ Daniels. I think you're going from A-level players to like high B-level players there. And below that is, well, there's people that would say Josh Thompson's really good. I'm just like, okay, interior, he's going to play guard. He's going to probably end up going to Ohio State. He's a really good player, but it's like guard. Auburn's got guards. How much is a really awesome guard worth to you? How much is a great quarterback worth to you? How much is a great buck to you? I think at Auburn at this point, they need a buck a lot more than they need an inside blocker. Just my opinion. So that's the situation with the Beast List, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Just something to think about, a buck and defensive tackle. We'll see if they have some ideas that come up soon. That is your quick and dirty review of the portal goings-on from Auburn today. Thank you for spending some time with me. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Jay Tate. Good day.